fact, there is going to be a move for the lead there, so round the outside does go Stuart Bell. We can tell that from the roll cage that he wears on that car. From our cameras, and goes now on towards the front of the Nelson part of the circuit, and then not too far over it, it's going to be Bradley Smith in third place, and he'll be hoping to try and stay as close as possible over the course of the 20 minutes, and he is managing to do so at the minute as we get quite dicey in the 7th and 8th place there as they turn their way in towards Murray, so trying to work out possibly going to be in the region of maybe Craig Denman and Paul Seppi, if they've had a good start, should find themselves there or thereabouts as they charge towards the line, but it will be Stuart Bell that leads the way. Second for Paul Goldstein as they work their way towards Ridges. Bradley Smith sits further down actually, in fact is his transponder not working? No, he has come through but in 12th place, so unfortunately he has had a bit of a bad start to this one, which means up into third place has gone number 33, which is Ross Oliver, and to complete the top 4 is the number 5 machine of Phil Ingram.
What a great start to the race as well for Caroline Everett, up 5 places on the opening lap of the race, so from 10th right the way up into 5th, and trying to close down that off Phil Ingram over the next couple of laps, but it is going to be Stuart Bell that leads the way up towards the left-hand hairpin of Agostini once more. Paul Goldstein is now in fact into the lead of the race, but Stuart Bell had a little look to the inside on the brakes. They remain as they were for now. O'Sullivan finds himself in third place and not having to defend too much at the moment from Phil Ingram. Caroline Everett is in theory best of the rest here. She's got a bit of a margin between herself and those cars up the road, so it's basically 4 for the lead. But Stuart Bell, that lead didn't last too long at all as Goldstein has got back to the front. The car that did have the issue was indeed Colin Lachlan. He's got back going again and he's running back on race pace.
Yeah, well, what Jack's saying, Colin Lachlan is now trying to catch up, but he'll need some help to get back onto the tail of the car ahead, which is a good 50 seconds down the road. So Colin Lachlan, unless he gets the safety car, won't be any contention for a place to be gained. Meantime, the top 4 head their way already down towards Bundler and Nelson. Behind the top 4 still Caroline Everett and Craig Denver. Both of them are fighting for the overall championship within 2010, just working on drop scores, and they are pretty much dropping almost exactly the same points. The gap between them will remain about 6 or so points at the end of this race if they stay pretty much where they are in the order as well. So good battle they're having in the championship and also within this race as it stands. They turn away now down towards Murray's top 4 could be not any closer, I don't think, because they come full throttle across the line with already 4.5 minutes completed. Second lap now about to be tipped off, and it still will be Stuart Bell that leads the way, but Paul Goldstein is coming straight back at him. Ross Oliver is there with him, and Phil Ingram. They've now got what's going to be 1.5 seconds over the chasing pack, which now has Craig Denman at the head of it. Caroline Everett down to 6th place, and Paul Seppi in the 42 machine finds himself in 7th.
Yeah, Russ Oliver last time through with the fastest lap of the race at 2 minute 10.789. It seems like Stuart Bell, every time he crosses the line, he's in the lead. But every time we look over towards Agostini and sort of the infield section of the circuit, Paul Goldstein has managed to work his way in. We'll for you the order in which they arrive on this occasion. Stuart Bell is where he wants to be. He wants to be in the lead by the time they get to the line. Look out that right-hand side window. Paul Goldstein is back into the lead of the race ahead of Stuart Bell. Is it Russ Oliver that still holds on towards his 3rd place? We look towards the rollover hoops. Yes, it is, but he's under huge pressure now from Phil Ingram, and all of that fighting isn't just bringing the car of Caroline Everett in, mainly because Caroline Everett on the previous lap has lost a position. I think she's gained back since then, but Craig Denman is absolutely there as well, so we're not just seeing 4 for the lead, it's surely going to be 5 for the lead, plus then an extra 2, then an extra 2 as these duos slowly start to close in. So Stuart Bell, he may be in the ideal position at the moment, but still with 14 minutes to go, the complexion of this race is going to turn on its own.
Yeah, and of course the more that catch, the more that he'll have to defend from in the closing stages of this race, and of course the more that are there, the more you have to defend, which means you get slower and slower, so that's the right more and more on starting to the 270s, Alex still on lead with that one, with James Lloyd second, and Neville Sykes in third. To be fair, although Neville Sykes is almost 100 points back from Amanda Anderson in the championship, Neville Sykes have to drop 2 zeros, so effectively his point score remains unchanged, whereas Amanda Anderson has to drop a good 90 points, so effectively Neville Sykes is very much still in the game for this weekend. If things don't go too badly for him, he could very much be in contention for the championship by the end of tomorrow. But he needs to find himself there or thereabouts, especially try and get himself now ahead of James Hall, who is 1.5 seconds up the road. So a very intense battle in the 270s, a bit like what we're seeing out front in the 310s.
It's a weird one for Caroline Everett. She arguably wants a bad weekend, doesn't she, to try and get those drop scores. I'd imagine there'll be something in there which means you can't drop the final round of the year, so it keeps the numbers up right the way through all season long. This time it is going to be the 150 of Paul Goldstein that leads over the line by almost half a second ahead of Stuart Bell. By the time they arrive back into our sight on the exit of Farmer, is it still going to be Goldstein that leads? Yes, it is. Bell is absolutely there with him, followed by Oliver behind. So we've got the 29 of Craig Denman, who's there or thereabouts. Caroline Everett still sat there 6th overall in the 310Rs. The 270s are continuing to close in, as you say, but for the moment Alex Kings is having a very sort of motivational weekend on his part. He was quickest in qualifying on effectively start to finish, and in this race he's had a cracking start. He's already got a second lead over those cars behind.
Yeah, doing really well indeed, so that's good to see for him as it currently stands. The 310s get closer and closer. We've now got the top 5 altogether, 1.5 seconds back to Caroline Everett, so she needs to make sure she doesn't drop away from that leading 5 at the minute, but still a long way to go with over half the race still to tick away. Quickest lap in the race has gone to Craig Denman. It's the man who sits in 5th place, has done a 2:10.086, so that has very much great gap and front 4, which now all turn their way through Roger and Nelson, with still Paul Goldstein leads. Second place for the man who started on the outside of row number 1, which is Stuart Bell, then Russ Oliver and back into third and 4th, then on to the pad, as I said, it's going to be that for Craig Denman in the number 29 machine. And in fact, Caroline Everett now is starting to feel pressure from Paul Sethi, because the 42 machine is better pace now right with Caroline, and this could be a blessing in disguise, effectively, because Caroline, who was on her own, might now just have that help she needed to catch up with those 5 ahead. We'll see if that pace does increase for those 2 cars who head their way up towards the start-finish line. Leaders in towards the first corner, and it looks like Stuart Bell, yes, he's going to go round the outside of Richie's corner and takes over the lead of this race once again.
Bell back into the lead of the race. It all gets rather close and congested in towards Richie's once more. We have 3 wide, the order that